Welcome back everyone to more of our custom career mode and VR gameplay. And I'll apologize right up front because you can see our numbers are already in for Bristol. And the reason for that is I had originally started recording this. We got through the numbers and in fact signed a brand new sponsor, but my voice is leaving me very quickly. And I had some issues with my voice as that recording continued. So I decided to just start fresh and we'll talk about it from square one. So if we look at the numbers from Bristol, Bristol was a brutal race, a very humbling experience. You hate to see that as a driver, especially with the run we've been on. All top 5 finishes in the first 4 races, but Bristol, it was simply not to be. Everything was off there. We started in the 15th position. Now the incident count was at 0. We had no incidents, and as I looked through the field of AI drivers, there was very little contact at all, so a very clean race. But then we get over to the finish, 23rd place. It was just no good at all. Now the weird thing is, we were running fine for about the first half of that race. We were somewhere around where we started in 15th. We were 11th, 12th, 13th, somewhere in there. For the most part, but then the last half of that race, and in particular, the last probably 20 or 30 laps of that race, we just fell off a cliff. The right front tire was gone. I knew the truck was going to get tight, but this is the most off I have seen an iRacing setup for me. Now granted, remember, it's all about your driving style, but for me, this was the most off an iRacing setup has been in a long time. And I just could not keep the right front on it. In fact, if you joined us in the last race, you know that at the very end of that race, we actually lost the right front tire with a lap or 2 to go in the race. So it was a brutal experience. Also, it really hurt our average finish. Our average finish in the first 4 races was 3rd, 3.0. But now after this 23rd place finish, it's 7.0. So yeah, just nothing went right at Bristol. I tried to make some notes on the setup. I saved a version of that setup. And if we ever need to go back to Bristol in the trucks, which we may not, we'll have to see how things play out. But I'm hoping that we can actually be into the Cup Series before that happens. And if that happens, then we can leave that in the mirror. But I made some notes about how tight it was and maybe some possible changes to try to get that set up at least a little bit better so that we can have something to race with instead of just simply trying to survive. So we're still not too bad. I mean, 7.0 in the first 5 races for an average finish is nothing to be sad about. It's just in the context of where we were versus Bristol, it stings a little bit. But now let's go and talk about the sponsorship. So average finish of 7.0, we signed a sponsor. And if we hop over to the sponsor hub, we signed with Xfinity for a total of 8 races. Our base payout, roughly $108,000. So we don't have to worry about pole position since we're going to be 15th each time. Our top 15 bonus, about $2,700. Top 10, $5,400. And then a top 5, very nice, almost $10,800. And if we were somehow able to pull off the win, a very nice 27 grand is in store for us. So those are some very good numbers, and I feel like we've earned them this time around. I always feel a little bit bad about having a good finish in the first race of the season because that's where you're going to sign your sponsor after that, and it just feels a little weird if you have a great finish like we did at Daytona and you haven't been running well. It just feels a little weird to sign a great sponsor after that, but such is life. Now, I will say, when we move over to my spreadsheet, the new spreadsheet is going to be completely different in how we deal with that in a lot of ways. And we'll talk about that as it gets closer, but essentially I just started with a blank slate and just asked myself the question of how would I want a career mode to work if I could design it. And then I threw out a lot of ideas, designed the spreadsheet around those ideas, and then tried to simplify it down and get rid of anything that really didn't add to the experience but added some additional work on the player. And because my goal ultimately is to release this to you guys if you have any interest in using it. So that was the ultimate goal, to make it as user-friendly as possible, and that means simplifying a few things here and there. But so far this season, just looking at where we are in the trucks, we're 5 races in. We have an average finish of 7.0. We're making good money. We're not spending a lot on repairing the truck, so we're having nice, clean races. I mean, things are going great. You just have to sort of put that taste of Bristol out of your mouth and move on. So where are we headed to next? Well, we've got Dover and Chicago. Now, these are 2 tracks that we're familiar with, either from the truck series in our previous season or from the super late models. So Dover, we know Dover is going to be challenging. And much like Bristol, we're going to probably want to get up into that second groove and spend a lot of time there. Just should be easier on the car and truck overall to get up there. But then once we go to Chicago, it's wide open racing. We're going to be moving around that track. We know the AI prefer a higher groove there, so it's going to make things a lot of fun. But before we hop into the Dover race, let's hop over to the classifieds and take a look at where we are. We're currently at $736,000. We need 1.9 in order to move into the Cup Series, at least on this particular spreadsheet. Again, my spreadsheet is configured very differently, so a lot of the costs are going to be different. They're spread around to different areas. But for right now, what we're shooting for is $1.9 million. And we are, what, halfway there? Not even quite halfway there. It's a lot of hard work to get there, but again, that's what makes it fun. This is a career mode. It's all about progression, and it's all about the struggle. So Dover, it's going to be fast. We're going to have to be aggressive, but what kind of setup are we going to have? Is it going to be like Bristol, where we're going to fall off the last half of the run, or are we going to be competitive and have an opportunity to get back in that top 5? We're about to find out. All right, folks, welcome back to Dover Speedway. Our first time here in a truck.
In the outside lane.
But of course, we had a lot of fun here in the super late model. I would expect today's race in the trucks to be no different. And we're running 100 laps, so that means at least 1 pit stop. And if that happens under green, that this could be chaos, especially for me, because I have no idea where we need to start braking in order to get into the pits, and I don't know what pit road speed limit is, so yeah, there's a lot going on right now. And that's just the way I like it. So 100 laps today. I plan on splitting that into 50 lap segments, assuming we don't have any cautions or anything like that. But we are using an AI skill spread of 80 to 110. I actually increased the skill spread a little bit on the top end because I showed up near the top of the sheet on speed in practice, and I'm not used to that, nor is that something I necessarily look to do. So I increased the spread a little bit. All right, now as we're getting close to that Geico start zone, we're there now.
Green flag, green flag. Outside.
Pretty good start, not necessarily on my part, but a pretty good start there for everyone else.
Stay on the bottom.
All right, let's see how the start goes. I seem to remember here in the super lates that we wanted to be on the outside
Keep to the bottom.
in these situations because the guys on the bottom just could not get any speed, and that looks to be the case right now.
Got one outside.
We're here behind Austin Wayne himself, and
Got one outside. Keep to the bottom.
I am just sort of half throttling it right now.
Stay on the bottom.
I'm going to let these guys try to get a little spread out. We'll make up spots as we can.
Clear.
I'd like to get up on that high side for sure. I just don't know if that's going to be able to happen.
P18.
Yeah, you can see here in front of us, I mean, they are all jammed up on the bottom.
Got one outside.
Now, the setup I'm using is the Dover setup
Outside.
from iRacing with
Okay, Brian.
a few adjustments
On lap 30, and it should close on
to try to
lap
free it
90.
up a little bit.
To the bottom.
So So you can hear the crew chief out. He's talking to me now, talking to me about fuel and other things. So we're giving him another shot. I actually found that my race went just fine without the crew chief out.
Outside. Keep low. Good stop. Outside.
Ooh, easy, easy, easy.
Good stop.
Ran right up on those guys on corner exit. But everybody's fighting for that bottom.
Outside.
Meanwhile, the outside lane is working just
Stay
fine.
on the bottom.
So we're just holding our own here. We're falling back, of course, losing spots, but I'm not terribly worried about that. After all, it is a 100-lap race.
Still there.
Yeah, whoever it is up there, it looked like Howard, the 91, but somebody is struggling big time. You know it's not the 4 right in front of us. You know he's going to be fast. And I don't really want to take it 3 wide.
Got one outside. Keep to the bottom. Stay on the bottom.
Yeah, somebody is struggling.
Keep
Oh,
low.
easy.
Stay on the bottom. Clear outside. Outside.
Yeah, the struggle is real.
Clear. Got one
On
outside.
corner exit, that's where they seem to be having a lot of issues. Is getting off the corner. They seem to be okay for the most part on entry and through the center, but exit is no good. So I'm sort of hemmed in right now. I'm trapped.
Still there.
There's nowhere I can really go
Keep to the bottom.
to get up on top without forcing my way in, and that's no good.
Stay low.
So we're just going to try to give everybody a little bit of room here. All right, let's see if we can get underneath the 22 here.
Got one outside.
D19.
Because as it starts to spread out, oh, yep, here we go. I think we found the truck that was struggling. And it is indeed the 91. So 91, are you going to give me some room? Yes, you are.
Good stop.
Greatly appreciate that. Yeah, he wants nothing to do with anyone right now
P17.
on this track. All right, so I think he's just said P17 to me. I could barely hear it.
The gap to Howard
Got one
behind is
inside.
increasing. It's now 0.9.
Too high. Clear. Inside.
Oh yeah, we get up on this high side, we can definitely
Keep it on top.
get going.
To the bottom.
Right now, I'm just chilling out because we've already seen
P15.
what happens when the setup gets extremely tight over a long run and we lose all those positions. I mean, like, we literally lost all the positions.
Inside. Clear inside.
All right, who's going to go? Is it the outside lane or the
Got one
inside?
inside. Stay right there.
P14.
All right, outside lane gets going.
Stay high. Clear.
All right, we've made back up the spots to our original starting spot.
Got one inside.
So that didn't take very long, just a few laps.
Keep high.
Oh wow, the 4 truck really struggled there on corner entry.
Clear. You're in the top 10.
P10.
So I just feel like I'm cruising right now. I'm not pushing the truck hard at all. We're here on lap 13.
Okay, Brian, you're reeling Kraus in. The gap's now 0.8.
All right, now 0.8. So we're in the top 10, just strolling right along. Ooh, okay, we got more speed than you do, that's for sure.
Got one inside.
Yeah, the exit is where the AI really struggle.
Clear inside.
Again, just going through the corner at about half throttle. And you can be extremely aggressive at this place in the trucks.
Behind is now
A lot of
0.6.
on throttle time. I like that the crew chief is talking to me, but right now I'm not terribly worried about the specifics of what he's saying. I'll be worried about that more as we get deeper into a run to see how our tire fall off and tire wear compares to the AI. But I do definitely appreciate it. All right, coming up on the 75. Let's try to go to his inside since he was giving us that.
Keep to the bottom. Still there. Clear.
All right, so the 23 running very well inside the top 10.
P8.
Clear outside.
So we complete that pass, and we are where inside the top 10? We are in 8th, 7th, something like that. Not sure if it's updated with that recent pass or not.
Seventh position. You're reeling. Oh, seven. In. The gap is 0.3.
Oh, I'd say we are. Good gracious. I mean, we're catching these guys as if they were lap traffic right now.
Clear.
And that's not a good sign.
P6.
It's one thing if you're catching guys this quickly if they're lap traffic, or you know, you're somewhere in, you know, the 15th to 20th range, but not when you're inside the top 10, almost the top 5. Would not expect to catch guys this quick. But I'm trying to be very careful with these guys.
Outside. Clear.
But the setup in practice, after I made a couple of tweaks to it, to try to get the front end turning better, it was using a good bit of preload, comparatively speaking, on the front bar, and I simply got rid of that. We're using no preload, and that alone,
Keep it up, keep digging.
that alone was enough to get the front end turning much better and free this thing up a lot more.
Got one outside.
All right, now we'll pass the 66 with relatively no issue. All right, so we're definitely starting to get tight, that's for sure.
You're in fourth.
P4.
We are in 4th position, wow. And we have not struggled to make any of these passes. I mean, we struggled more at the beginning of the race. Just trying to get through some of that traffic that we have now that everything has gotten spread out. So again, I'm just trying to run a consistent pace without abusing the car, and certainly without abusing the tires. Because as you can see, we are still easily catching the traffic in front of us. So it looks like Chandler Smith is your leader. I don't know exactly where he is, but I do know we're about to take over 3rd.
Keep it on top. You're in 3rd. There's the bottom.
P3.
I definitely don't mind being higher on the track here at Dover. It feels really nice up there in that 2nd or even 3rd groove. Don't think we need to go all the way up to the wall, of course, but
The gap to roads behind is increasing. It's now 0.8.
okay, that's what I like to hear. The gap behind, which is one thing I cannot see very easily, because out of my view right now, I cannot see the mirror behind me. You guys might be able to see it because of the wider field of view that I'm using for recording, but as far as what I actually see, I don't see it. I have to actually move my head to see it. All right, I can see Chandler Smith up ahead. All right, it's starting to get a little tight on exit. So as we've learned, now is where we'll find out what kind of long run speed we have.
P3.
We've made it up to P3. Are we going to be able to keep moving forward? Trying to give a lot of room here to the one truck. She's obviously struggling a lot
You've just done a 25.5.
with speed.
Clear inside.
So we are 28 laps in. So about a little over halfway through this first run, again, assuming no cautions. So every once in a while, as we head into turns 3 and 4, I start thinking about pit lane entry. And how I'm going to need to do that. Because again, as always, I don't practice that. Just to keep it fresh and exciting and torturous for me. All right, here we go for second. See if we can get by the 38.
Inside. Stay right there. There's the bottom. Inside. Clear. That car is not a lead lap car. You're in second.
P2.
All right, P2, you heard the man. And of course, I can see Chandler right in front of us. At least I believe that's him. Let's see. Yes, about a second ahead. Yep, that's him. We'll move to the high side here. See if we can move by Jack Wood. No, actually, we're going to need... I thought we might be able to get him on corner exit there.
Keep to the bottom. There's the stop.
So this is going to come down to lap traffic and pit stops. Now what we usually see from the AI when cautions are not an issue is that they will generally run their truck completely out of fuel or pretty close to it before they make their pit stop.
Keep it on top. There's the bottom.
But I am not going to do that because we are generally not anywhere near as fast at the end of the run as the AI are, so it makes sense for us to just split this in half.
We're quickest at the moment.
Now, the issue with that is if the caution does come out and trap us 1 or even 2 laps down, maybe even more than that depending on how badly I do this pit lane entry.
Outside.
Yeah, that comes up pretty quick there. I'm thinking I might have to
Still there.
I might have to slow down even
Clear.
at the entry of the corner. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to drive into that corner at speed at all. I'm in no particular hurry to get up there to the 18, just driving my pace. You know, we're at lap 35, so we got about 15 more laps on these tires, and right now we're still showing plenty of pace. Probably heard the crew chief program just a lap or two ago telling me that I was the quickest on the track, and that is perfect. That's exactly what I need to be hearing. It tells me where we are on tire wear and fall off relative to our competitors. We'll take the high side here.
There's the bottom. Inside.
Yeah, you can see right there on exit, he just goes nowhere.
That car is a lap down. You are the leader.
You're in the lead.
Now I'm going to just take that as he knew I was coming, I was faster, so he moved over to give me the line. Now, in real life, how often do you see that happen in the truck series? But that's the way I'm going to think of this. Some old school racing, where if a guy runs you down, you know, early to mid portion of a race, there's no reason to fight him hard for that. Just let him go.
There's the bottom. That car is not a lead lap car.
It feels like I'm just creeping around this place, but I am the fastest one out here. So it must not be doing too bad. As I mentioned, the truck has definitely gone toward the tight side, but it's not bad. It's certainly not anything close to what we've been dealing with. And so far, I mean, we're here 40 laps in, and
you're now in the lead. The gap to Smith behind is increasing. It's now 1.7.
Yep, that's what I needed to hear. The gap to Chandler is increasing, which means that our fall off is not as much as the guys behind us. So yeah, we're in great shape because we're within 10 laps of pitting. It tells me I don't have to worry about getting into pit lane immediately at lap 50, which is exactly what I would have to do if we were losing steam right about now. And I needed to get those new tires on here and minimize our time on older tires as much as possible. So keep in mind, I believe you can run somewhere between 65 and 70 laps or so. Maybe a little bit more than that with the fall off in the tires. But somewhere around those numbers, somewhere around that 70 number. So that's when I'll be looking for the AI to pit. But this setup feels so much better than what we had at Bristol.
The gap to Smith behind is now 1.9 seconds.
Tight I can deal with, but you got to have some sort of balance. It can't be extremely tight, plowing tight, because that'll just run the right front tire off of it. Alright, where are we? 45. There we go. You can see the truck take a set in the center of the corner. Then I was able to get back to the throttle and stay in it for the remainder of the exit of the corner. And that's exactly what you're looking for. So it looks like I could have turned up the AI even more.
Got one inside.
Because I don't tune the AI so that we can win the race. I tuned them so that
is now 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5 I believe is what he said behind us.
Clear.
So we're continuing to pull away. I try to tune the AI to where on our best days we're able to fight for maybe a top 5 or so, somewhere in that range. If we're fighting for top 5s, then I consider that to be a great race. Then of course every once in a while you do like to have an opportunity to win, naturally, but this is certainly not what I had planned. Alright, now we're within a couple of laps. Essentially we can pit anytime we want now.
25.5.
Did he just say, surely he didn't say
behind is now 2.3.
Okay, there we go. Alright, the gap to Chandler is about 2 seconds. For a second, I heard him say 5.5. I was like, what on earth is that? Surely that can't be. Surely that can't be to second place. And thankfully, it's not. Alright, there we go. So we're about halfway now. And I have to admit, I'm just kind of cruising here. I'm thinking I want to go very conservative with this pit entry. I don't know what pit road speed is. I would imagine it's fairly low here, but since I don't have a speedometer,
should be about 19 laps remaining on this tank. The gap to Smith behind is now 2.4 seconds. That was 25.7.
So I'm thinking I might want to slow down and get off the banking pretty early. I gotta be honest with you, this thing is handling quite nice. I'm not even sure I want to pit right now because this thing is, yeah, it's a little snug, but it is not bad at all. And the fact that we are still the fastest truck on the track is not making me want to stop with that anytime soon. Now, strategically, you would think, well, you're in lap traffic right now, and it's going to be pretty heavy for the next several laps, it looks like, so why not come now? And that would certainly make sense.
The gap to Smith behind is now 2.7.
Got one inside.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2.7.
Keep it on top. Clear to the bottom. Inside. Still there.
Yeah, this setup has worked out
Clear inside.
beautifully.
Got one
Absolutely
inside.
beautiful.
That
So
car
much
is not a lead lap car.
closer
Keep it
to
on top.
what I would want compared to what we had at Bristol.
Keep it on top. Clear.
And I haven't noticed anyone else coming into pit yet. Always just interested to see how the AI handle it. We know how they normally handle it. So I always like to see if we have any outliers.
The gap to Smith behind is now 2.3.
2.3, all right. So he's made up a little time over the past few laps. Maybe a couple of tenths. All right, so now I'm coming in on the one truck again. I believe I'm going to come into pit this time by. So I'll start waving on the back stretch, virtually of course. Start waving at these guys. All right, so I'm going to go this and take this very easy. Hoping to actually lose some time to the AI. All right, what is our pit road speed? Oh, it's even slower than I
Pit
thought.
lane speed limit is 35 miles per hour. All right, Brian, we'll fill you to the end of the race.
All right, so he's not going to fill me full.
Pit box in 10.
All right, I'm staying a little closer because I
5,
want to see.
3.
Oh, there we are.
1. Right here.
All right, so that was about as slow as you can do a pit speed entry. There go the left side tires.
That's it, go.
And again, no particular hurry getting out of here.
There's traffic behind. Watch your mirrors.
Oh, look out. Let's go ahead and spin it out. That'll definitely cost us some time. All right, looks like we've got a nice gap behind. Well, let's try to get some temperature and pressure in the tires.
P24.
Got one inside. Clear inside.
You're reeling Anderson in. The gap is now 0.6. Smith is now in the lead.
Inside. Clear inside.
All right, so this is the dangerous time for us
Outside.
right now because we have so much more grip than these guys. So I'm just gonna, it's up to me now to be careful trying to clear these guys as we work our way through. As long as they're just
Clear.
one truck by themselves, no problem. If we come up on a battle of 2 or 3 trucks, that could become an issue.
P22. Your lap times are improving. This is exactly what we need.
Yeah, I'd say our lap time should be
The gap
improving
to
right
Wood
now.
behind is now 1.7.
But again, I am not going to push this truck really hard. There's just no reason to.
Got one inside. Clear.
No reason to push extremely hard on the tires. It's just,
21st.
Got one inside. Clear.
all right, right now we're making up spots, but it's simply because, well, we lapped a lot of traffic. was a little concerned as to what the 75 was going to do there.
P20. We're currently
I
set
didn't know
in
if he was going to stay down because we were coming so fast, or if he was going to jump up in front of us.
Got one inside.
All right, here we go. Now is where I'm going to have to slow down and just sort of bide my time a little bit. 91 definitely off the pace. We saw that at the beginning of the race. Actually, he could not maintain.
Clear inside.
Wow, would not have expected
Outside.
to be coming by quite
Okay,
this
Brian,
early
you're reeling
on the
yourself
4
in. The
truck.
gap is 2.1.
But of course, I'm not sure exactly where he is within the lap traffic, so he might be running closer to the front than I thought.
Inside. Clear to the bottom.
There's our good buddy, Matty D. We'll back out of it a little bit so we can go to his high side and not put any pressure on him.
Clear. Got one outside. Clear outside.
All right, what lap are we on? 65. All right, so the pit stop should start within the next 2 or 3 laps, I would guess. So what we don't want right now is a caution. We're sitting here in 16th. I don't know if that's going to be on the same lap as the leaders, though. I doubt it. Ooh, easy there. Somebody go. I'm guessing it's going to be the 56. But, oh, we're just battling it out right now at a very slow rate of speed.
Got one inside.
Come on. Let's go, guys. Somebody go. Really don't want to do this 3 wide. But you guys are making that a much more attractive option by the second.
Still there. Clear to the bottom. Inside. Clear inside.
The hill is getting closer. The gap is now 0.3.
So Timmy Hill running in the, well, he was running in the 15th position until we just took that from him. We lapped a good bit up into the field, for sure. Because now we're getting into some of these top 10 trucks.
Inside. Keep it on top. Clear to the bottom.
There's the 66.
Got one outside.
You're reeling, great.
Clear
The
outside.
gap is 1.6 seconds.
Alright, we got a mess in front of us up here. And I have to be real careful about taking the bottom. Because remember, these guys will be coming in for pit stops here very shortly. And I don't want to be caught on the bottom as some of these guys hit pit road and cause a big wreck. That is
Your last
what I
lap time was
do
at
not want.
24.8.
Inside. Clear to the bottom. Inside. Clear inside. Got one
Okay,
inside.
Brian, we're in the lucky dog position. Let's see if we can keep
Clear.
it.
Alright, we're in the lucky dog position. Okay, we can breathe a little bit right now.
P13, the gap to Kraus behind is increasing. It's now 0.9. We're currently setting the pace.
That's what I need to hear. We're currently setting the pace. Not that it's a
Clear
surprise,
to the bottom.
given the current pit strategy situation, but it's always nice to hear that. Or even if he said, you know, you're currently 3rd on the track in speed or something along those lines, that would be awesome to hear. But the lucky dog position means that worst comes to worst, we'll start in the rear on a restart if a caution comes out right now. Alright, so here is, I believe, what, 2nd place, Chandler? So Zane has got the lead.
Clear to the bottom.
So these guys ought to start pitting. Wow. Actually, they're going much longer than I would have thought.
You're gaining on the guy in front. The gap is 1.7 seconds.
And I mean a lot farther. This I would have thought would have been the absolute edge of what anybody would have gone, and to this point, this is where all of the AI are going. Because I don't know of anybody who's pitted. Very interesting. Of course, it's killing them on, oh, look out. Almost looked like Zane had an issue there on corner entry because he slowed way down.
Got one inside. That car is a lap down.
13th place.
Inside.
Yeah, in real life, they would never
Stay high.
want to let me have this many laps on fresh tires
Stay
versus
right there.
them. That would be the kiss of death.
Clear to the bottom.
But yeah, they're all going to go right to the edge.
Inside. Keep high.
And I would have thought we'd reached the edge by now, but apparently we have not. I could have sworn I looked during practice, glanced over to see how many laps you could run under green conditions, and it was somewhere around 70. I thought. Maybe I looked at it wrong. Or maybe the AI just have really, really good fuel mileage.
Got one inside. Clear to the bottom.
Because I know the tires have fallen off for sure. But have they fallen off that much that you can get an extra 10 laps?
Got one inside.
Maybe.
Keep high.
Either way, I knew the strategy I was going with.
P11.
All right, we are in P11 with a green flag pit stop.
You're pulling away. The gap behind is now 1.0 seconds.
So steady as she goes. That's what we're going to keep doing. We've got about getting close to 20 laps to go. I still can't believe I haven't seen any. These guys always amaze me at how far they can push a green flag stint on fuel, as well as on tires, quite frankly. Because we were doing well on tires. I'm not sure we were 80 laps good on
That car
tires.
is not a lead lap car.
The leader,
20
Smith,
straight.
is pitting.
It is pitting now.
There we go. Now they're going to start pitting around lap 80, 81. So not too bad. I was only off by about 10 laps.
Inside.
The car ahead's pitting
Still there.
now.
There we go. Now we're
Still
starting to
there.
see a flurry of activity on pit lane.
Back in
It
fifth.
looked like it was
Lap
about
time
8
was
laps, or
25.5.
excuse me, about 8 trucks or so right there. So it looks like everybody's going to come within about a 2 or 3 lap period. And then we'll see how this all sorts itself out. Now
That
remember,
car is not a lead lap car.
The gap in front is now 2.1 seconds.
keep in
Okay,
mind,
Ryan, there's a car exiting the pits. Heads up.
yeah, now these guys are going to have the new tires, so they're going to be blowing by
Leading. The
us.
gap behind's increased to 5.5 seconds.
All right, so the 98, that's a fast
Got one
truck.
inside.
He was inside the top 10, so we're going to see what kind of speed he's
Got one
got.
inside.
Now that we know he's got new tires.
Clear to the bottom. Got one inside. That car is not a lead lap car. Still there.
All right, that should be him. Yep, that's him coming by now.
Gray behind is pitting.
And you can
Inside.
see,
Clear
oh,
to the bottom.
wow. That was some seriously late pit entry there for the 45.
That car is a lap down.
And you can see exactly what the 98 is doing right now. I mean, he is just rolling through the corners.
Inside. Clear.
All right, so it is circled
Smith is getting
around.
closer. The gap's now 15 seconds.
We are in
There's a
the
car
lead.
rejoining.
The question is by how much? And how quickly are these guys going to be coming behind me? And do they have enough speed to catch me? Because they're going to have to get on it, because they got about 15 laps to make it happen.
Inside. Clear inside.
So now, the biggest thing for me is
That car is not a
I
lead
don't
lap
like
car.
the AI to be behind me with much fresher tires because, well, I don't have tons of confidence
Smith
in their
closing you
abilities
down. The gap
to
has come
avoid
down
me.
to 14 seconds.
So I'm going to try to help them out with that. All right, I heard 14 seconds is the gap. I'm going to assume that's how much I'm out in the lead.
Okay, Brian, there's a car exiting the pits. Heads up.
Got one inside. That car is a lap down.
I'm
Clear.
going to give him some room. Let's not do 3 wide here. So right now it's as much about self-preservation as anything. Just trying to give the AI
Smith
with
is
new
reading
tires
you in.
as much
The gap's
room as
now
I can.
12 seconds.
12 seconds, all right. So he's coming. Whether it's Zane or whether it's Chandler in second position, they're coming. The question is, are they going to have enough time to get me? Because their tires at this point are 30 laps fresher than mine. So it's a huge amount of speed difference.
Then it goes to straight.
That last lap was a
That car is a
25.2.
lap down. Inside. Keep it on top. Still there. Clear. That car is not a lead lap car. Got one
Again,
inside.
just trying to let these guys go,
That car
because
is
they are
not a lead lap
clearly
car.
much
Still there.
faster
He's
than
gaining
me.
on you. The gap's now 11 seconds.
All right, 11 seconds behind. So that's another second off the lead. But remember, we're
Got
now
one
inside of 10 laps to
clear
go.
inside.
So we're doing what we need to do. The question is he doing what he needs to do?
Inside. That car is a lap down. Still there. Keep high.
Because you know he is hammered down on that throttle, trying to catch me here with those brand new tires.
The gap to Smith behind is now 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay, we're looking good. 10 seconds behind, but keep in mind, his tires are getting older by the lap, and we're running out of
Right front
laps.
tires wearing out.
Yep, right front tires wearing out. That's perfectly fine. I only need it to last about 6 or 7 more laps. We'll be fine. I've made a home up here in this second and third groove just to give all these AI trucks as much room as I can.
About to go to straight.
All right, Brian. Lap times are pretty consistent.
Right, here comes, I believe it's Kraus, coming up to pass us
Gap
now.
to
You go
Smith
right ahead.
behind is
Got one
now
inside.
9.6 seconds.
That car is a lap down. Stay high. That car is not a lead lap car. Stay right there. That car is a lap down. Clear to the bottom.
All right, so right now we're just riding.
Inside. Stay high.
doing the best I can to maintain a good, consistent pace
On top.
while staying out of the way
Clear.
from any possible issues with AI that are passing me. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not pressing my luck a little bit more, trying to stay down on the bottom of the track and, you know, that type of thing, being more aggressive around these faster trucks, it's because we don't need to be. We have a
Got one
nice big
inside.
lead.
Clear to the bottom.
I don't know what that lead is right now, but we're coming to,
2 laps to go.
yep, there you have it. 2 laps to go.
Come on, you're the man.
So there's no reason to be any more aggressive than this. We can just bring it home.
All right, bud, bring it home. 1 to go here.
There we go, coming to the white. White flag is out. We got 1 more lap to make it all happen.
One
Interesting
more
that
lap.
our speed is
P1.
equalized to the
captain,
19
Smith
now.
behind is now 8.6 seconds.
8.6.
Got one inside. Clear.
You go ahead, 19. I am in no hurry to make a pass because we are bringing home the checker.
Well done, mate. That was absolutely perfect. Great win.
You won. You are the man.
That is the performance we needed. We needed a great performance after what happened to us at Bristol, and today we got it. So as we hop off the banking and head down pit lane, that was, well, of course,
Watch your speed
anytime
limit in the pits.
you have a chance to win, it is a great day. But today was a great day because the truck handled very nicely overall.
10.
This was a much better balanced setup than what we had at Bristol, and it showed. I could move the truck around, I could run low, I could run in the middle, I could run higher,
1.
and ultimately,
Race is over.
we got
Right here.
exactly what we needed
That's it,
out
go.
of this setup. So we started 15th, we bring home the victory, and that is a great way to end it. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and stick around for more custom career mode and
Well done,
VR
Brian. Great
gameplay.
win. You deserved that today.